Hello everyone, and in today's episode we're discussing the Gurtner AR2 Carburetor, which in this case is found most commonly on the Raleigh Wisp. Now today we're mainly going to be looking at a strip down plan provided by Raleigh itself, and not only that, just making sure what the overall carburetor itself is in good condition, it's free from debris, gunk, and how you yourself can make sure you can do a full maintenance plan at any time you want. Now to start with, I will be discussing what you will be needing. So I've got some gaskets here, which I'll provide a link to in the description below, which are for the float tank top and bottom. You need a flathead screwdriver, an 8mm, a 10mm, and then on your left are just a few things to demonstrate how it all fits back together, which I hope helps. Now throughout this video I will also be providing links to the descriptions where you can find these parts at all times, and not only that, if I can, I'll be providing diagrams just so you can follow along at home and make life a little bit easier for yourself. Now before you can do all, you're probably guessing you've got to take this off the engine. Now what holds this on is this little clip here. This is it. So this has an internal diameter of 22mm. So upon removal, just make sure that's all right. It's not slack out like that. It's all nice and tight fitting. Otherwise, you might have slight vibrational issues, or maybe it's not a full seal on your actual intake. Now to remove this, you're going to want your 8mm spanner. It's just a simple case of get it, crack it, loosen it off ever so slightly. You probably can do it with your fingers after a certain point, which ain't too bad a job. Get a quick twist, and just like that, pop straight off, and then that is free for inspection and cleaning. Now, once that's off, you can actually see inside where your throttle is present, but we're going to move on to the next stage now, which is the removal of the top. Now, this is where the throttle goes into, and also your choke, which is quite an important bit, and I'll just show you here quickly. It should look like this. So it's spring return, you've got all right parts on it, and then that should be seated just inside that, which slots in. Now for this next part, I am going to be using a flathead, and then that's just a case of slide it in, twist it, just keep going until it will pop off eventually. And then inside here, as you'll be able to see in a moment, it's the full components of the throttle. So that comes out in one piece. You've got your screw, you've got your return spring, and then also you've got your throttle inside of there. Now you might wonder, well, how do you get it out if it's stuck like this in bottom? What I use is a little piece of welding wire, and then all it does is slots into there, and then just like that, it pulls out. Now upon pulling this out, you'll be able to see the actual body itself, which is this. Now I've had these before where you can actually get chips in them and dents somehow, so you want to make sure that is all present without no defects in it, and if it is, you can always get other ones to replace them. Now what we're going to be focusing on next is the main jet itself, which is found at the bottom, just like this. Now this is a 8mm, so I just want to slap that on, and just like that, it should free up. Now usually what you get with this a lot of the time is what two-stroke oil does tend to set, and this gunk can block jets, it can get into your fuel lines, it can get everywhere. So a lot of the time this is a main issue. If it's not running, this is just worth checking. And just like that pulls out. Now once that's out, you can see in this instance what they haven't got no two-stroke build-up inside, but even still, I'm going to go ahead and clean it. So we're using these fine tip cleaners, so something around that size is all you need. Get that, then all you need to do is run it, make sure it's straight through, and then just like that, clean it through. That's literally all you need to make sure that no debris build up or anything like that inside. As you can see, if I can get it just right, it's clear. Now following this, we're going to be taking the airbox off. Now in this instance, it's quite a forgiving bit of plastic, so if you just slide your flathead in underneath it should just pull out like that, and then same on the other side, so you've got two mounting points for this. That slips off, and just like that, your box comes apart, and you can see the full components behind, and in this case it's filthy, so I'm going to get a good deep clean, and we'll show you just how. Now before you clean it, you want to make sure your filter's present. which in this case is just a piece of mesh, which should slide out, just like that. Now this to me doesn't look original, because it just looks like a piece of meshing, but if you wanted measurements, I'll provide them below, just so in case you want to make your own, it's not impossible. Now looking at this, you can see where dirt and grime over time has started to slightly get past the air filter. Now for this I use Holt's EGR carb cleaner. So this, I mean, you can get from most retail places, Alfords, things like that. It's just a case of spraying it down, you know, go wipe down, usually using a fine brush, and I'll show you what it looks like afterwards. Now you can see here now what works for fun cleaning with a little wide brush. It means there's a few brush marks here and there, but as long as you've got that debris out of the way, then that's your main problem solved, because you won't get no blockages in future. Now next we're going to look at the float tank itself. Now this is present at the bottom and just requires a 10mm spanner. Should just be a case of slide it on, crack it, and then it just unscrews. You want to be careful because this screws all the way through to the top, which is there. So when you're unscrewing it, I'll show you. That comes out as a unit, and then the top just pulls off like that. Now when it comes to looking at this, what you make sure is what your gasket is intact. Now we've got a replacement one here, which is a paper gasket, which in this instance just slides over and it applies the same there, and that just slides on. Now upon removal at float, you want to be remembering which direction it came out. Now in this case it is needle to top, and you want to make sure there are no imperfections on it. In this one, seen better days, but as long as it's not dinted or like that and your needle is still central, then you shouldn't have any issues when it comes to the actual fuel input. Now you won't be able to see this, but inside here now is the actual fuel chamber itself. Now this is where it comes into, and obviously where your float goes up and down. Now the issue what you can get in here sometimes is what two-stroke oil can clog this, and especially on like your input. So you want to make sure at all times that this is clear, and especially free from debris, which could stop your float from rising. So in this case I've just used some Holt's carb cleaner in there, and that's got all that sediment out of the bottom, and it also helps with just removing any general debris or all like that. So once that's complete, let's start with reassembly. So like I said, make sure that your needle is pointing to the top, and that just drops in. Once that's in, you're going to get your top piece and your new paper gasket. Now this one has got a rubber one on, but it is starting to perish, so we're just going to slide that one, and it should just be a case of fitment is perfect, because you want to make sure what the no gaps all the way around it or like that, just to make sure what your fuel is staying in where it should. And then that just slides in. As so, and you can see what that is, a tight seal all the way around, and what no fuel should spill over if you're lucky. A lot of times what can happen on these mopeds is these little stops, if you want to call them, little gaskets, can perish, and they go on just there. So when it comes to putting this back on, make sure what you've got one on. I'll provide a link to these in the description just in case you're wanting to get them, because what can happen is fuel can leak from there. So you just want to get a little nip with your fingers, get your 10mm, and then just simply get a little bit more of a nip and make sure it's up tight. Now this is only tightening from one side, so you don't want to go mad just in case it starts lifting here, but it should be fine. Now this, same again, two-stroke oil can tend to build up in here, and you just want to make sure you can see down it. So if you get your little bit of cleaner and just run it in as such, and make sure that is free. Now you should be able to see it coming through like that, and then if that's the case, you know what, you're going to have fuel and you should have no issues with blockage out like that. Now once that's done, slide that back in, start nipping it up, and then that is when you want your flathead just to go in there like that, run it down, and then once that's done that, you want your 8mm just to get that little bit of a nip and make sure it's all tight. Now let's start with your main assembly. So once again, you want your throttle, and then that, make sure it's right way around, which in this case is like this, slots into the groove, as so. Now you can also use your little bit of welding wire if you want, just give that a little push, but it should be fine. And then that's followed by the spring, which goes on top as such, and then following that, you've also got that, which then sits in it, just like that. Now once that's pressed on there like that, you just want to get your flathead, just run it down. Now you shouldn't be feeling any strain at all with this. Even when your cables are connected, you shouldn't be feeling any resistance, it should just be smooth, because sometimes what can happen is, if you force it, your cables can get trapped, which is a problem which I've had before, and then you don't get no throttle, like that. Now next, what you want to be looking at is putting your airbox back on. Now this can be tricky at times, but what I find best is, place your airbox on, and make sure your air filter is nice and pushed, and that. So just push in, as such, and you want to make sure you've got a tight seal running all the way around it. Now once you've got that seal, you want to make sure you've got your clip. Now in this case it started to oxidise slightly, but it doesn't affect its performance in any way. And then you just simply pull it round, and then that should slip into your little groove there. And you also want to make sure it's same on this side, otherwise you might have a problem sometimes where it does rattle off, and once it's actually on bike itself it can be an issue. So you just want to make sure that snaps in, it's all aligned, and it's on just fine. Now when it comes to actually fueling the system, what I use is a little bit of 6mm internal diameter piping with a Jubilee clip on it, and what I do is simply push it on so it's nice and snug, run it up, and then once you get to that point you can slide your Jubilee clip on just as a safety precaution. Usually you don't have to, but tighten that up and you should be fine. And then finally you're just going to pop that on like that, and then same again. Once that's on engine, you just want your 8mm spanner, nip it up, and you should be fine, ready to go. But yeah, thanks for watching that. I probably will be doing more videos in future, talking about how to strip down, full strip down processes, and just everything in general, what you're unsure of. So if you've got any questions, just drop me a message or a comment or out like that, and I'll try, if I can, to get it done as soon as possible for you. But yeah, thank you for watching, like, subscribe, and then hopefully can get some more help out to you people soon. Thank you.